I am concerned as a member of parliament who really fought hard to ensure that we have a paradigm shift from the previous government to the current government led by Honorable His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. But it's coming to the attention of very many people in this country that we have civil servants, especially the accounting officers, who are still sympathetic to the old order. We have principal secretaries, we have accounting officers who have not come to terms that we no longer have Uhuru Kenyatta as President of the Republic of Kenya. And they are likely to engage in things to do with the sabotage, implementing some resolutions or rather some policies that are punitive to Kenya. And I'm asking His Excellency William Ruto to suspend decisions by the majority of principal secretaries until he assembles his government in place. Because I am concerned that we have officers who are still sympathetic of the old regime, and they may approve things that are not in line with the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza government. And that we should be very careful, by allowing them to continue implementing what the previous government had planned. That one will make Kenyans perceive this government to be putting the wrong foot forward. And we want to ensure that we continue to put the best foot forward so that Kenyans can get proper services. Secondly, we also have a bigger problem with the education sector. Some of the policies that were implemented by Matiang'i, they were not of any value. They were actually populists. This thing of delocalization has brought a lot of suffering with our teachers and in the education sector. So we want this government, and we will be I will be engaging the various players in the education sector to see whether we can stop this delocalization. It doesn't make sense. Or rather, delocalizing a principal from one school to the other, it doesn't improve the management skills of this principal. It doesn't improve the teaching skills of this principal. If he is a principal with a poor management skills, the skills will not improve because they have been delocalized. This delocalization was only meant to punish the majority of teachers who are working very hard. Like for example, in accounting in Bungoma, we lost principals whose schools were doing very well in the country. So they were taken to go and manage specific schools. So what we want to do is that we want to engage the government, which we have participated in forming, to disregard these issues of delocalization. What is important that the government should be driven, should be guided by meritocracy during the transfer, especially those principals who will be promoted from deputy to being a principal of another school. But transfer of schools, of principals, far away from the country of origin, far away from where they were born, is just punitive to them. Because you cannot wake up in the morning and you transfer a principal from school A to school B. You're leaving behind a wife, you are disrupting the children. The children are going to a school around that particular place. And what the government should focus on is whether this principal is delivering or not. If a principal is delivering, and there is a principal of a school from the county where he was born, what's the problem? We should only transfer a principal from one school to the other if this principal has failed to improve the results of this school. And maybe it can be taken to a smaller school for him now to be able to come up. But transferring teachers on the basis of where they were born is wrong. It doesn't bring any value in the education sector. So these are some of the things which we are going to do. And we are also aware that the previous parliament, where I served in, the 12th parliament, was also among one of the arm of government that was under state capture. We had a legislating president. We could pass certain bills that were really very good. Instead of the president signing them into law, they were being returned with a memo, and of course you know, when the head of state returns a bill with a memo with his reservations, then it will mean that Parliament marshals 2/3, which is very difficult to overturn the memo. So we have a number of bills that were passed under such circumstances. We are going to take audit of all the bills that were ascended into law by former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and they realign them to ensure that they are taking care of the interests of millions of Kenyans, as opposed to 10,000, 5,000, or even 10 business people, especially in the aviation sector and the banking sector, the sectors where the former head of state had a serious interest in. So we are going to audit those laws and do amendments so that we can realign them to be part of the bigger picture that is going to solve the majority of the problems that Kenyans go through.